I'm going to be reading the story of Dasher. There's Dasher. This is how a brave doe met Santa and changed Christmas forever. There's a picture of Santa with Dasher. This book is written by Matt Tavares. So they have a nice little prequel about the story that you might like to hear. You may have heard the story of how a certain red-nosed reindeer was chosen to guide Santa's sleigh one foggy Christmas Eve. You probably heard of the 8 other reindeer too. Maybe you even remember all their names. Yes, but you might be surprised to hear that there was a long time ago when Santa's sleigh was pulled not by a team of reindeer, but by a single horse named Silverbell. In those days, Santa didn't have quite as many toys to deliver as he does now. But over the years, as more and more children believed in the magic of Christmas, Santa's list grew longer and longer. And as his sleigh grew heavier and heavier, Santa knew that pretty soon, dear old Silverbell was going to need some help. This is the story of how an ordinary family of reindeer became the most famous animals in the world. And it never would have happened if it weren't for a brave young doe named Dasher. And here's the first picture, which is like a picture, looks like a circus. Look at all those reindeer in the middle. And there's the circus train with the circus tents behind. Let's see what the story is about. Life was not easy for the reindeer family of J.P. Finnegan's traveling circus and menagerie. They spent long days cramped together under the hot sun as an endless stream of curious people jostled to catch a glimpse of them. So there they are with the people coming by trying to get a glimpse of reindeer. Look at those great big antlers. Amazing. Even at night, there was little rest. Some nights, to pass the time, Mama would tell stories. It was a magical place, she would say. The air was crisp and cold, and the ground was always covered with a cool blanket of white snow. Your father and I were free to roam under the glow of the North Star. So here are the reindeer, and they're working very hard. It looks like they're pulling one of the circus carts. I guess wagons they would be called, up the hill. They're working really hard, and the mother reindeer is telling them stories. Dasher, the youngest reindeer, loved Mama's stories. Is that the North Star, Mama? She asked. The very same, Mama said. We always knew we were home when it was directly overhead. I wish we could go there, said Dasher. Mama sighed. I do too, she said. But Mr. Finnegan is not kind to animals who try to escape. So there's Dasher looking up to the sky to see the North Star. Day after day, under the watchful eye of Mr. Finnegan, the reindeer family delighted crowds wherever they went. Dasher liked being with her family, and she loved meeting so many children who were always kind to her. Sometimes they even fed her carrots, which was her very favorite food. I hope that's your favorite food too. It's a good one. But at night, while the others were sleeping, she would lie awake, gazing at the bright star on the horizon, wishing for crisp, cold air and cool blankets of white snow. So there's Dasher getting a treat from the children. See that carrot? She's got good, strong teeth to bite the carrot with. One night, mighty winds shook the circus tents and rattled the animal cages. Dasher was wide awake, wishing on the North Star. And when she was startled by a loud creak. The gate to their pen had swung open. Dasher could hear rustling from inside Mr. Finnegan's trailer. She glanced up at the North Star. She looked back at her sleeping family. She knew this might be her only chance. Her heart pounded. She took a deep breath, and then she ran as fast as she could. There's Mr. Finnegan, and he's getting up to go see what's going on. And there is their fence opened up, and there is Dasher making a dash for it. Lots of wind blowing. Oh, she went for hours with the North Star as her guide. But no matter how far she traveled, it was still way off in the horizon. So there she is as she's traveling. She's found a tree that's fallen down that's going to help her to cross the river. And then way off in the distance on the horizon is her North Star that she's looking to guide her to home. Dasher began to wonder if she would ever make it there. She thought about turning back, but she couldn't remember the way. She didn't know what to do. So she looked up at the North Star and made a wish. Just then, Dasher heard something in the distance, a soft jingling coming from the woods. Right now, I just hear Landry munching on his bone. But there's Dasher as she hears the sound in the distance. What is that jingling? Let's find out. There, in a clearing, Dasher saw a man and a horse. "I'm sorry, Santa," said the horse. "The sleigh is just too heavy this year." The man smiled. "Now, don't you worry, Silverbell," he said. "We'll take all the breaks you need." "But the children," said the horse. "They'll be heartbroken if we can't deliver all the toys by Christmas morning." "Children?" thought Dasher. She stepped forward. "Maybe I can help," she said. And there's Santa talking with Silverbell, saying, "We're going to take some breaks because you're tired." "Hello there," said the man. Dasher walked closer. The man smiled. "Have you ever pulled a sleigh?" he asked. Dasher shook her head. "I've never even seen a sleigh," she said, "but I pull a wagon just about every night." "Well," said the man, "how would you like to make a whole bunch of children really happy on Christmas morning?" "I would like that very much," said Dasher. There is Santa, and he's talking with Dasher, and there's Silverbell behind him, Silverbell, and a sleigh behind him that's all full of presents. Santa thanked Dasher and attached her harness. It was soft against her fur, and its jingling bells made the most beautiful sound that she had ever heard. Santa climbed into his sleigh. Dasher pulled with all of her might, and then suddenly the load felt lighter. Dasher looked down. So there's Santa, and there is Dasher and Silverbell, and Dasher's good. Silverbell's a bit taller than Dasher is. So Dasher looks down. What does she see? Let's find out. They were flying. Well, no wonder it was lighter. Look how they're flying. Way off the ground. Off they go. All night, Dasher and Silverbell pulled Santa's sleigh through the air as Santa guided it from rooftop to rooftop, delivering toys to children everywhere. Dasher had never experienced such a thrill, and she ate so many carrots she felt like she would burst. She was having so much fun, she forgot all about the North Star. And there they are flying. I see the moon. The moon is full that night, right next to Silverbell. As the first light of dawn appeared on the horizon, they landed. The air was crisp and cold. The ground was covered with a cool blanket of white snow. Dasher searched for the North Star on the horizon, but he couldn't find it anywhere. Santa smiled. "Dasher," he said, "look up." And there it was, directly overhead. "Is that the North Star?" she asked. Santa's eyes twinkled. "Merry Christmas," he said, "and welcome home." So there's Dasher talking with Santa, and there we see just a little bit of the North Star that is right above Dasher. The North Pole was just as wonderful as Mama's stories. Dasher roamed wherever she pleased, and Santa gave her all the carrots she wanted. But something was missing. "I love it here," she told Santa, "but I miss my family. I wish we could be together." Santa smiled. "That's your best wish yet, Dasher," he said. "Let's go find them." So there's Dasher sitting down there, thinking about his family. And they're so far away. You see the North Star right above Dasher. Late that night, Dasher guided Santa's sleigh all the way to J.P. Finnegan's traveling circus and menagerie. "Mama, Papa," Dasher whispered, "everyone, wake up." Mama lifted her head. "Dasher," she said, "is it really you?" "It's me, Mama," said Dasher. She told her family all about Santa and Silverbell and how the North Pole was just as amazing as Mama's stories. "But I missed you," she said. "You were all I wished for." Dasher led her family to Santa's sleigh, and Santa attached their harness. "You're not going to believe this part," she said. And what do you think happened? They flew into the sky, pulling Santa's sleigh. Because they were all working together, it was so light of a load. When Christmas Eve arrived, Silverbell watched as Santa prepared his team. "Are you sure you don't want to come?" asked Dancer. "I'm sure," said Silverbell. "I know the 8 of you will do a fine job." And there I see Mrs. Claus in the background waving goodbye next to Silverbell. And there I see the 8 reindeer all attached and pulling Santa's sleigh with all of the presents behind him up into the sky. Late that night, as Santa and his new team of reindeer soared around the world, he called them by name the very first time. "Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen." And there they are, up in the sky, over the city, all the snow coming down. On Christmas morning, after all the toys had been delivered, they flew back to the North Pole, where they still live happily today. There, The air is crisp and cold. The ground is always covered with a cool blanket of white snow. And there I see Silver Bell and all of the reindeer and Santa's house, his workshop for making the toys. And Dasher has everything she ever wished for. So there's the North Star above her, and she's surrounded by her family. And they're enjoying the cool, crisp blanket of snow to lie in. The end. That was a lovely story.